Hey there. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some examples from section 1.5. So most of these examples have to do with angles and their measures and how they are related to one another. All right. So problem number 1 through 3 actually want us to name 3 different angles in the diagram. All right. So let's go ahead and start with, and I'm going to highlight the angle. The smallest one here, looks like the smallest one, right? So we would call that angle EFG, right? So just in the order that I highlighted it, right? From one ray to the vertex to the other ray. Okay, should probably just use the same color. Okay, so we can call that angle EFG. Okay, I could have also called it angle GFE, right? Going in reverse. Let's look at this angle right here. That would be angle GFH. Okay. Another possible name would be HFG. All right. So we found 2 small angles, but notice that they're adjacent to each other, and so they form a bigger angle, which I'll now color in blue. Okay. So the whole angle there is angle EFH. Okay, so we have 2 small angles adjacent to each other, which combined form this bigger angle here in blue. All right. Let's repeat that process on the next one. I'll move a little bit faster here. Okay, so angle QRT. We can have angle TRS. And they're adjacent, and they can be combined together to make the big angle QRS. And then one last time for good measure, let's call the first angle LMN, LMN. And then the next angle, we can call that NMK. And then finally, this large angle here, LMK. Angle LMK. All right. So now, in the next couple examples, we're going to be trying to find the measure of a certain angle. All right. So let's find the measure of angle JKL. All right, let me highlight that. Let's use yellow here. Okay, so JKL. Okay, so it's asking us to find the measure of the whole angle here, and notice that that whole angle is made up of 2 adjacent angles. Okay, so it's really as simple as just adding those 2 angles together, right? So the measure of angle JKL is going to be the sum of the 2 parts, right? So 31 degrees plus the 85 degrees is going to equal 116 degrees. All right, in number 5, we want to find, well, we know that the measure of angle RSU, so RSU, that's the whole angle, is 91 degrees. So we can go ahead and mark that. We can use an arc symbol, right, 91 degrees. Okay. We want to find the measure of angle RST. Okay. So RST would be the smallest angle in the diagram. So because of the angle addition postulate, we know that if we add the 2 small adjacent angles, they would add up or combine to make the big overall angle. Okay. So we can write the measure of angle RST plus the angle adjacent to it, which is 69 degrees, is going to equal the entire measure, which is 91 degrees. Okay. So let's just subtract 69 from both sides. And we would get the measure of angle RST is equal to, what, 69 79, 89, 20, 22. 22 degrees. 8, yeah, 22 degrees. Right. Problem 6. Angle UWX is a straight angle. Okay. So straight angles, you might recall, measure 180 degrees. Okay. So what we know is that this entire measure here is 180 degrees. Okay. Find the measure of angle UWV. So UWV and measure of angle XWV. So XWV. All right. So we basically want to find the measures of the two adjacent angles that make up that straight angle. Okay. And so we have some algebraic representations for those two angles, right? So we know that if we add these two expressions together, it should equal 180 degrees since it's a straight angle. All right, so we'll write x plus 20 plus another x, right, for that angle equals 180. All right, so that's 2x plus 20 equals 180. Okay. We'll subtract 20 from both sides. So we'll get 2x equals 160. And then we'll divide both sides by 2. And we would get x equals 80 degrees. All right, so that tells us that this angle over here, right, the one that's being expressed by x alone, is 80 degrees. So let's see how we can write that. Maybe just put an arrow there and write 80 degrees. And the other angle, UWV, is going to be 80 plus 20. So that angle there is going to be 100 degrees. Makes sense. 100 plus 80 forms a straight angle of 180. All right, let's find the measure of angle CAD. So CAD, that's the smallest angle here in the diagram, and the measure of angle BAD, which is the angle adjacent to it. All right. So what we know is that those two angles combine to make 90 degrees, right? That's what the little square symbol there means, is that we have a right angle, a 90-degree angle. All right, so we're going to write an expression where we sum these two angles, and we'll just use the algebraic representations and set the sum equal to 90. Okay, so let's do 5x plus 57 plus x plus 15 equals 90 degrees. All right, so that's going to be 6x plus 57, 67, 72 equals 90. Okay, we'll subtract 72 from both sides. So 6x equals 18, and then divide by 6, so x equals 3 degrees. Okay. Now keep in mind, this is not the final answer. This is just the value of x, but the angles are x plus 15, right? So if we take 3 plus an extra 15, then we know that angle would be 18 degrees. And this is going to be 5x, so 5 times 3, which is 15, plus another 57. So 15 and 57, 67 would be 72 degrees. All right, and you can just double check that these two values sum to 90 degrees. All right, so we're getting close to the end. The last two problems both contain the word bisect. And so bisect means that, you know, the ray here in the middle divides the whole angle into two congruent angles. Okay. So EG, the ray EG, bisects, divides the angle DEF. Okay. Find the measure of DEG, which is the angle on the top of the figure, and the measure of angle GEF. That's the angle on the bottom part of the figure. Okay. So it looks like the whole angle measures out to 92 degrees. Because EG bisects, we know that these two angles will be the same. So if I call this one X, then I would call that one X as well. Okay. So I can simply write X plus x equals 92. Okay, I'm gonna have two congruent angles, or two angles with equal measures, and they sum to 92 degrees. All right, so 2x equals 92. Let's divide by 2. So x equals 46 degrees. Okay, so each of these smaller angles here would be half of 92, so 46 degrees. Number 9 also says that we're dealing with an angle bisector. So the ray QR bisects the entire angle PQS. Find the measure of angle PQR, which is over here on the left side of the figure, and the measure of angle PQS, which is over here on the right side. Right. So because we have an angle that's being bisected, we know that the two smaller angles will be congruent. Okay, and the way we show congruence is we put, I probably should have just done this in red here. We put a little red arc, okay, showing that those two angles are congruent. Okay, that's not showing up too well, so let's use the highlighter. Okay. So each of those two angles is congruent. Okay. So congruence here means that the measures are equal, right? Like, so if this was, I don't know, 40 degrees, then this would be 40 degrees. If this was 32, then this would be 32. So they are equal in measure. So let's take their expressions and set them equal to each other. So 4x minus 10 is going to equal 3x. Oh no, is that negative 3x? Looks like it. Negative 3x plus 130. Okay. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. And I'm also going to add 10 to both sides. Okay, so we have some opposites that cancel. So we get 7x equals 140. If we divide by 7, then x equals 20 degrees. Okay. Now again, this isn't the answer, right? This is just the value of the variable x. We still need to substitute into each expression to get the angles. Okay, so 4 times 20, that would be 80, and 80 take away 10 would be 70 degrees. So this angle here is 70 degrees. Okay. And this one should come out to 70 degrees as well, because we already know they're congruent, but let's just do the math. Okay, negative 3 times 20, that's negative 60, plus 130, that would also be 70 degrees. Okay. All right, so that was just some quick examples on how to work with angles. We did some problems dealing with the angle bisector. A lot of these problems had adjacent angles, and so we know that any two adjacent angles you can sum together to get the whole angle, right? The two parts add up to the whole.